With the amount of lore and basically mainly just the languages that Tolkien made, I'm surprised there is not more content that has been made using his lore and just these languages he created. I'm surprised there has not been more content like this game I'll be talking about. But given the way that it went down, I'm not too surprised. I mean, really, actually, no, I'll get to that later. Shadow of Mordor is it's not set within the story created by Tolkien. It's supposed to be set in the movie universe or whatever. And basically, you play a guy named Tywin. He was a ranger of Gondor who was stationed at the Black Gate with his family. And everyone he knew, his wife, his son, his friends, fellow rangers, they were all, well, except for a few deserters, were all massacred. Like, they got their shit pushed in. And Talion himself was also killed. Like, he had his throat slit. And they were attacked by an army of orcs led by, I believe they're called the Black Hand. Like there's the Tower of Saruman, the something else with Sauron, and I can't remember what else. But yeah, they attacked them, and unfortunately for Talion, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, he didn't die. It turns out he was banished from death, which is kind of messed up. And he finds that his soul has been intertwined with that of a wraith, who he later finds out is Celebrimbor. And this kind of ties into where they may have goat fucked the lore a bit. But again, I'll get into that later. And he basically, Talion and this wraith go on a quest of finding the people who murdered him and his family. And that's more or less it, as far as I can remember. I'm going off of memory with this one, so bear with me. And if you want a better, actually no, not better, but I did this also as a blog. So if you're having trouble understanding me, you can find it written out in a blog form on Minds. But yeah, that's about all I want to say about the story. Is you go after these three people who are responsible for your death, and along the way you actually gain this rare ability. Well, not rare. I have no idea if this is something that exists in the world of this series, but Talion finds a way to where he is able to dominate orcs, and by this I mean makes them bend to his will, serve him. Before this, Talion in the game worked and cooperated with an orc named Ratbag, but then he got to, I believe it was Nirn was the name. It's, I think, near the ocean. Here, he gains the ability to, and he basically pulls a Morgoth. Or this is how I used to look at it. The way I looked at it was this, and bear in mind, I know very little of the Lord of the Rings lore. I'm still getting into it, but a long time ago there were these elves, and a guy named Morgoth, previously the Onir Melkor, twisted and corrupted these elves, and these became the first orcs. They were made to be evil, basically. So, any crybabies who love to bitch about Tolkien, you've shown once again you know not a damn thing what you're talking about. I used to think this is you kind of reversing that, but no, the orcs are still bad. They're following you. They tolerate your existence, and they see you as their leader now. At least in this game, I can't remember if they had the ability to break free from your controller or not. And the combat in this game is somewhat like the Batman Arkham series, where you can like attack one person, then attack another, or just attack one person continuously. It's kind of like that. You can also sneak up on someone and stab them with a dagger, which is actually the sword, a broken sword that used to belong to his son. You also have a sword for main combat. You also have a wraith's bow you can use, and all three of these you can upgrade. Well, the sword and the dagger, you can upgrade those, which the sword's final upgrade is badass looking. The sword and the dagger can be upgraded twice. I think, and much like the bow, the sword, and I think the dagger also can have runes engraved on them, but you have to find the runes and do something special with them, or maybe it was do a challenge. It's hard for me to remember now. Like, it's been years since I played this game. I went back to play the sequel recently, and I wanted to talk about the first one. because it's pretty good. Also, I like the attire Italian has, but anyway, you have certain abilities like you can attack someone from a distance. I think this is called Shadow Strike, and if you do it successfully, you decapitate them. You have special attacks called Executions, which usually involve you decapitating orcs. For some reason, Italian really likes decapitating those orcs. Can't imagine why. And that's about it as far as what I want to reveal. If there's any complaints with the game, it Harvey Weinstein's the lore, basically. Because, like Celebrimbor, he was a blacksmith, but they depict him in the game as being this badass warrior. And this was never mentioned, I guess, in the Silmarillion. As far as I can find anyway, I'm still reading it. So they mucked that up, and they did, I think, way worse in the sequel. However, if you can look past that, then my other complaint would be... I think they could have done more with how you used this leadership of the orcs. Like, they remedied this in Shadow of War, but they could have done more with that. The only other complaint here, and this comes from Razorfist, actually, there's this complaint of plagiarism. Now, if you play the game and you know what he's talking about, please inform me, because I don't get it. I do not understand it. But yeah, between the plagiarism and the Cosbying of the lore, those are my only two complaints, or the only two complaints that I could somewhat sympathize with. The gameplay is pretty smooth, or not bad. It's a fun game, is what I'm getting at. It's fun. You'll enjoy it, or at the very least, I enjoyed it. And if I can enjoy, well, no, people do have different tastes, but yeah, it's fun. It's a good. I recommend it highly. It's like an 8.3 out of 10. And I think that's all I wanted to say on it. Like, I probably had more that I had written down, but that's... Oh, yeah, you do explore two different locations, two different settings. There's Nirn and the area near the Black Gate. That's it. And that's the video. That's all I wanted to say. Have a nice day, and remember the game was rigged from the start.